About what happened with David Letterman? David Letterman was warming up his audience one night recently. Normally, another comedian goes out to warm up the audience, but sometimes Letterman does it. And he went out there and he took Q&A with members of the audience. And the first question came from a college student of some kind. And his question had to do with what advice Letterman would give to this year's graduates. Hey, Dave, I'm a college student. I work on a staff of a professor. What advice would you give this year's graduates? And Letterman said, treat a lady like a whore and a whore like a lady. No, yes, he did. It's right here at page 6 in the New York Times. That's what he says. Treat a lady like a whore and a whore like a lady. The host shot back. That's what it says here. The joke, which is a version of, oops, my fault, just saw the clock. Now, as a person in age similar to Letterman's, like Snerdley, you reacted in shock. Have you never heard that? That's actually philosophy from bygone generations. It's in a modern era when you're supposed to be, since Letterman's supposed to be in the Illuminati, he's supposed to be in the crowd that gets it. Letterman's supposed to be Mr. Hip. Yeah, Letterman's supposed to know everything about what's cool and what's not cool. Letterman's a guy that has people on to talk about the people that screw up. Letterman's a guy that sits in judgment of people that don't get it. And here he is, articulating one of these old saws from generations gone by. If you know people 65, 70, go up and ask them about that phrase, and they will have a story to tell you about it. And they will tell you that it was advice, that it was a joke, that if there are all kinds of philosophy attached to this. But, of course, in the modern era, it is just insensitive. It's unacceptable. It isn't funny. No way, no how. It is boorish. It is mean. It is probably racist and bigoted and all of those other things. And Letterman was just stunned, apparently. And listen to some of the quotes from the people in the studio audience. The source for the story, at page 6, said, I turned to my wife and I was like, what? I mean, it was like the first joke of the evening, and it seemed like an odd choice. When the zinger fell flat, Letterman tried to recover by urging future alums to eat a lot of salad and always be nice. Several fans who passed by the theater on Tuesday night were outraged by Letterman's comic misfire. Younger people watch his show. This is a 41-year-old man saying this, folks. Younger people watch his show. We already live in a culture that objectifies women. It's just not right to make a joke like that. This is a high school teacher in Pennsylvania, 41 years old. Jerry Stockton, a retiree from Virginia, called the crack disrespectful to women, and women should never be disrespected. My daughter's going to go to college September, and I worry how guys will treat her. Guys like Letterman making jokes like this, it's got me even more worried. So this Letterman story, it fascinates me. Treat a lady like a whore and a whore like a lady. No. I understand that in this era, that is totally verboten. You don't go anywhere near it. You don't even act like it's funny. You don't even act like you've ever heard of it. You have to act outraged. Your sensibilities have to be profoundly, terrifically offended. Otherwise, they're going to come after you. That Letterman gave away his age on this. There was a day, way back, ancient times in this country, where people believed this and thought it was funny. And women laughed at it, by the way. I mean, it just didn't come out of clear air. There is philosophy in this. In fact, this joke even is attributed to a creator. 1930s screenwriter Wilson Meisner is actually credited for creating this line, this joke. But the audience members at the Letterman show were just outraged. 40, 45 years old, beside themselves, could not believe how insensitive Letterman was. And they were worried what a joke like this could cause to happen to their daughters going away to school on campus. It's a new era. I tell you, Chris Rock was right. He's not doing stand-up on college campus. There's too much political correctness and hand-wringing, and nobody laughs. And now you can't do comedy at the Letterman show in New York City because there's too much political correctness and hand-wringing and fear and a lot of other things that Jim Harbaugh would understand, but I'm not going to get into.